ready, better get ready. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we're showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Raise up a white flag. Didn't come this far just to turn back. The curtains fall for the last act. Breaking that levee, breaking that levee. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we're showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. We don't back down, this is what we're made of. Standing our ground, here it goes down. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Oh, wait and see, we're gonna be legendary. Ain't no time like the here and now. Yeah, we showed up, now we're showing up. Oh, you and me, we're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary. Legendary. We're gonna be legendary.
It's explosive. You can't control this, no. I got metal running through my bones. A resurrection like a ghost. Hurricane, go ahead and blow. Where you could keep your white flag, I'll never fold. A shadow on a battlefield. A survivor, never yield. A thunder, go ahead and shade. Don't run from the storm when I feel the rain. There's no rest for the wicked. No victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. I got a fever in my blood, a falling embers from above. I feel the heat when the pressure blows, a wildfire that you can't control. There's no rest for the wicked, no victory for the weak. And when the weeds getting thicker, you'll never see me on my knees. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive. You can't control this, it's explosive.
We're a racing family that you can trust on and off the track. So if you're looking for foundation repair, go online or give us a call to schedule your free inspection. If we fix your foundation and you mention Race On Texas, you will get a 1-year free subscription to the All Access Pass.
Our family started RVing a few years ago, and when I think about all those campfires and fishing trips and sporting events, these are memories that are going to last a lifetime. I want to help others do the same thing. Hi, I'm Kevin Smith, General Manager at the all-new Click It RV in Milton Freewater. People in this community are very familiar with this location and the great service they've always received. So the biggest question we get is, where is Keith? The great news is, Keith is still here.
I've seen a lot of changes. I've seen a lot of things come and go. Through all the changes that we have seen, one thing that has not changed for us is the quality of our service.
Buying an RV is a big purchase, but it should be a fun and happy experience. So whether it be in sales or service or parts, our mission is simple: be the best. From our team here at Click It RV in Milton Freewater, we invite you to come down and experience the difference.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head to head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back. We ready, it's time. It's nothing but hustle inside of the huddle. You know that I grind. A dangerous mind, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't break when it's crunch time. My end game is number one. Bet it all, give me my cash. Supreme game, can't stop it. Take off like a rocket. Break your back, don't bend mine. I'm the one now, you can't hide. Legendary like legacy. This is our moment, our time. This is our moment. This is our time. Time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. Yeah. Coming for glory. We ready for war. The city's behind us. We giving you more. We ready whenever. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. No other way, play to win the way that we play. Destined for greatness, born to be great, ahead of the game. In front of the pack, leading the way, it's time to reign. The kingdom's here, this is our year. Been to the bottom, ain't nothing to fear, we running the game. Rush in the field, for every yard, on every play. Nobody's safe, rise when we fall, but never stay down. The champs is here, doing it for the 10. This is our moment, yeah. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. This is our time. It's our moment. It's our time. Feet in the dirt. Nose to the grind. Like moment after moment. Day after day. It's our time.
LSRTV welcomes you back for the second race of the 2024 season for the Full Throttle Sim Racing Points Truck Series here from the 1.54 mile quad oval Atlanta Motor Speedway. Good evening, folks. I'm Jason Rockfell alongside my color analyst and producer over at LSRTV, Charles Wooten. Charles, heard you and Jeremy had a good time in the booth last week. I'm back. I'm ready to go. We just called an excellent race at Daytona for the Cup Series a couple days ago. It's going to, be a really good one here tonight in Atlanta, man. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, usually you go Cup, Xfinity, truck, Xfinity Cup. We're going backwards. We're going to the trucks, and had a great time working with Jeremy last week. But good to have you back here. Obviously, you mentioned had you Monday night as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what these guys can produce, because it's almost another super speedway, but not quite a super speedway.
Yeah, and obviously this track was reconfigured after the end of the 2021 season, right away after they finished up their Atlanta race in the summertime. Last two drivers to win on the old Atlanta Motor Speedway configuration for the NASCAR Cup Series were Ryan Blaney back in March of 2021, and then Kurt Busch won the final race on the old pavement in the summer that year as well. And then obviously it was reconfigured into a super speedway style racetrack. Marcus Smith and all the guys over at SMI decided, hey, let's bring something new to the table for these mile and a halves. And obviously this track just a little bit over a mile and a half, being 1.54 miles like I stated before. And now it's a super speedway. You got to race this track completely different than what you do at a typical mile and a half with this draft package that we have. And also, not to mention, with the reconfiguration comes higher banking, now banked at 28 degrees and wider straightaways down the front, and it's more narrow down the back.
Yeah, this is one of those tracks, as you mentioned, they reconfigured it. And there's no middle ground, I don't think, for anybody. You either love this place now or you absolutely hate it and you like the old one. I haven't heard anyone that says, yeah, it's kind of, I don't know about it. They either hate it or love it. So it's going to be a while. We have 130 laps. We'll get to that here in a minute. But I'm going to be curious when we talk to these guys in post-race what their thoughts are, whether they like it or hate it, or if they like it now because they won or finished podium. Because, like I said, it's either one or the other. There's no in between.
Yeah, just like Dover Motor Speedway nowadays, this track has become a racetrack for most drivers. It's either you love it or you hate it. I personally got some wins on the old Atlanta Motor Speedway back when I started on iRacing in early 2021, so I always liked it. But I ran some C-Fix stuff last night for my first time back in over a year. Barely any practice. Got 4th and 6th in top split, so pretty proud of myself for that. Gave myself a little pat on the back. And obviously, this is the thing. This Atlanta Motor Speedway, it's really treacherous, can cause a lot of incidents, which I'm sure we will see here tonight. Let's take a look real quick at the front TV race analysis. Obviously, no fast repairs necessary. 100% fuel load in these NASCAR stock car trucks. 4 sets of tires, which will be key tonight, because unlike most super speedway style racetracks, you're going to need tires here tonight with how tight it is in the corners. 3 green light checkered attempts if necessary, and this race will be 130 laps with some stages ending at lap 25 and 55, so that should be exciting. Charles, it's going to be a great race out here today, obviously, and look at the weather conditions too. Almost perfect here in the sim. Look at that, 87 degrees, 102 degree track temperature. You know just as well as I do, man, this track is going to be hot and slick here today.
Yeah, it is going to be very, very slick at 102 degrees. And, we're really going to have to wait and see how the cautions go. We were talking to Brody and the crew before, and we were giving them, a little harassing because, we didn't have any cautions to go back and look at during the last race in the Cup race. So I have a feeling, knowing this track, knowing that it's fast, like a super speedway, but, not quite a super speedway, I think we're going to see a few more cautions tonight. As clean as these guys race, I don't think we're going to go caution free, and I don't think it's going to be as low a caution. No fault to them. It just has everything to do with this track. Especially when those tires do wear down a little bit. So I'm kind of waiting to see. I think we'll be around the 3 to 4 caution range.
Well, we'll have to see that, obviously, if you don't include the stage breaks at the end of those laps that I just mentioned beforehand. You see some of these drivers trying to qualify now. Ryan Chapman, one of the guys who typically tends to be aggressive, like we mentioned back on Monday night, really nowhere to be found in that Daytona 250. But tonight he's going to try to see what he can do here in Atlanta as we wrap up. And obviously, last week, talk about some stats right before they're done qualifying here. James Mullins won the season opener at Daytona and led 23 laps to claim his first victory of the season. And obviously, you look back at most of the drivers to look out for this season. You have Richie Coy coming off of a championship. You have Brody Hanna, who has won 2 of the last 5 super speedway races that we have ran. And you have Cody McKinney, who was so strong last year, probably was Richie Coy's biggest competition. You have Bobby Terrell, TJ Bartell, Stephen Hollingsworth, who was really strong in the Cup Series late in the going last year. Tommy Schaefer picked up a couple wins. He's always right there. One of Ryan's teammates, I believe, there in that 27 machine. He drives the 29. And obviously, Robert Milikian, one of those drivers last year that me and Jeremy Stanley pointed out that was getting really, really fast towards the end of the season. He won a couple races or so during the off season in Season D. So we'll see if he can claim his first official season race here today, possibly, or throughout the season. But with that being said, Charles, trucks are gridded up. Let's give the rundown here. Row number 1, Marshall Johnson will take out the inside pole with Ryan Chapman posting down a blistering lap time in his Toyota Tundra. He'll be there on the outside in row 1. Row number 2, Sherwood Williford, really strong, finished second on Monday night in the Daytona 250. He'll start there on the inside in row 2 alongside Tom Price in the 5. Row number 3, you go back, James Mullins, last week's Daytona winner. He'll start alongside the guy who was so dominant last year, trying to continue it this year, Richie Coy in the number 19. Row number 4, you go to Michael Blackner, one of those guys from the Fury Motorsports camp, along with Nick Goebel in the number 1 machine. And rounding out the top 10, Charles, row number 5, FTSR's own Brody Hanna and Anthony Cozy in the 69 on the outside.
Yeah, row 6 going to be Cody McKinney in the 28. And those outside going to be Tommy Schaefer in the 29. Somehow that happens, 28 and 29. It happened the other night as well. Row 7 going to be the 11 of Tom. I called him the wrong name, by the way. Tony Soler in the 43 of Lewis Meglin. We'll see how they do here tonight. Tony did get his issue fixed. I will say that. We'll talk about it a little bit later here on. And number 7 on row 8 is going to be Wayne Grossi in the 8 of Kobe Mize. And row 9 is going to be Joseph McKinney in the 18 and the 99 of J.P. Burns. And round that, your top 20, Jason's going to be the 98 of TJ Bartell and the 16 of Robert Malikian.
Yeah, and then you go all the way down to 25th right now. Row number 11, Brian Bliss, saw him in qualifying there. He'll be on the inside in row 11 and the 3. Alan Duranco in the 2 was kind of strong on Monday night. He'll be on the outside. Row number 12, Justin Diltz, James Torrey in the number 6, who runs well at super speedways. And rounding out the field in the number 51 machine, starting 25th shotgun there on the inside, Bill Hull. Well, pace car has just left the pit road. We're going to get these guys onto this 28-degree banking here down in Hampton, Georgia. Sun is out. Track is hot. Drivers are hot. Man, hot Atlanta, Charles. This is going to be a really fun one. What do you expect to see? I know we just touched upon it here, but with these drivers coming to green this time by, it's going to be a good one for sure.
Yeah, it is going to be a good one. I watched them a little bit in practice. We were watching in on the cams, and they were going 2 and 3 wide. They were putting on a good little race before the race. So I expect to see some of that. Again, it's a cross between a non-super speedway and a super speedway. Maybe you could say it's the best of both worlds. We get to see tire wear, unlike Daytona, but you still see some of that really good 2 and 3 wide battling from time to time. So I'm looking forward to what should be a really, really good show, and possibly quite a few lead changes as well.
Brody Hanna took the win last year we were here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. He'll be starting back in the 9th position. But with that being said, pace car is down. Driver's going to come into the Geico restart zone. 130 laps, 200 miles from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Green flag is out. We are racing in Hotlanta, baby. Marshall Johnson takes the jump on Ryan Chapman all the way down through the quad oval, all the way down to turn number 1. Drivers going to get formed up, figure out which line they want to be in. Some drivers electing to stay towards the front. Others could very well possibly drop to the back with how chaotic it can be here.
Yeah, I think I would, if it was me, I would stay a little bit towards midfield to the back. And, you know, because kind of like you said, feel this field out, see how they're going to go. Obviously, you know better than I do, a lot of these guys have probably raced with each other quite a bit. Some of them obviously teammates. So right now, I think the best spot to be is probably Chapman, Mullins, Johnson, Price, those guys. Or possibly somebody like Duranko, Bliss, Burns, Bartel, these guys towards the back. They have the most reaction time if something happens. So, yeah, I want to be one of those two spots. I don't want to really be stuck in the middle right now.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to be stuck in the middle. And compared to Daytona and Talladega, you're going to see a lot of 2 wide here. 3 wide is pretty much a stretch compared to what you would normally see at your traditional super speedway. And that's really what you've seen a majority so far these past 2, now 3 days make it since the sessions went live on Monday night for CBNA official sessions at Atlanta Motor Speedway that night. You've seen a lot of 2 wide racing. The bottom lane is going to be dominant tonight, but the outside lane can work if you have the help up there. Worked in C-Fix last night, but this bottom side, when these tires start really getting burnt up here, Charles, that inside lane is going to be the place you're going to want to be, and you're going to have to lift, obviously, compared to, again, your traditional super speedway. I just don't even know. This is like a hybrid style super speedway, if that's what you really want to call it.
Yeah, and I always thought it was funny, this track in particular, you know, it's a hybrid, it's kind of a green track, and they painted the walls green. I always thought that was kind of funny myself. Yeah, it is kind of a hybrid, and I said I was going to point on this, and we will just a little bit. Then we were talking about Tony Soler having issues with his computer. It was giving him some glitching issues, and it was really not raceable at all. He has since got those fixes. The caution possibly coming out? No.
Yeah, we got one car sliding down to the apron, not going to be a factor, and that is off the racing groove right there. That is J.P. Burns in the number 99 machine, trying to get that Toyota Tundra machine back underway. He will rejoin. Oh, we got some more wrecking here down into turn number 3 rather. That's Colby Mice in the number 8 machine. Yet again, another Toyota. And one driver to note who did not take the green flag was Bill Hull. There's Brian Bliss in the number 3. He was involved, I believe, in that mishap going down into 3. We'll have to see if we can get a replay on that. But, Charles, just like that, we stay under green since it was off the racing surface and towards the back of this field.
Yeah, we'll quickly try to grab a replay of that one as we'll go back a little bit further here, and here it is right here. Yeah, it just looked like a little skirmish going on. We'll see exactly what happened, though. Right there, a little contact, and yeah, just a little bit of rubbing.
Yeah, just guys checking up, unfortunately. That's what sent J.P. Burns around and coming down. Colby Mice probably had no idea the 3 of Brian Bliss was coming in that much of a hurry. Probably just tried to get down to the bottom and unfortunately cut right down in front of Bliss's right front fender. But, like we mentioned, we stay green, and now you see the battle up at the front of this field right now. Ryan Chapman leading with James Mullins right behind him there in that number 60 machine, last week's Daytona winner. Those two work very well together. I actually believe they're teammates. Correct me if I'm wrong, obviously, but they've always worked very well together. They try to stay together when it comes to the super speedways, and they're doing just that here tonight. You have Marshall Johnson there back in 3rd. Sherwood Williford coming off of a runner-up in the Daytona 250 back on Monday night for the F1, or the F1, what am I saying? The FTSR Mach 1 Performance Cup Series. And then Michael Blackner right there in the 5th spot. That's your top 5. And we're starting to see this outside lane get formed up, Charles. Do you think they have what it takes to possibly get to the front if they can get a couple more trucks up there?
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can. And touching on your point of the teammates, yes, I do see Mullins and Chapman both in Elevated Esports, along with also Duranko, Burns, Dilts, and Malik, and all of those guys are all down there in the elevated esports. So whether they're all officially teammates or just working together, they are all together. That's a force to be reckoned with if you've got that many guys on one team.
Saw somebody right there in the middle of the pack just start doing some inking and blinking, as our buddy would say usually. Oh, whoa, contact, major contact into the wall there. That was the number 69 machine of Anthony Cozy. Just got pinched up into the wall by one truck up there, I believe. That was Alan Duranko who pinched him up there. And there goes Robert Malicki, and right to the bottom of him. He'll pass him there heading out of turn number 2. But somebody did some inking and blinking, as Wesley Outland would say. Had a brain fart for a minute. Couldn't think of Wesley's name. You think I would remember his name, Charles, because, you know, we call enough races with him here on LSRTV, but that's what he says. He says inking and blinking, so I guess, you know, it just kind of stuck with me ever since. And that's the thing, too. You don't want to have an internet connection issue at a super speedway with how tight and compact you guys are, or these guys are, when they're running in a pack, because it can really unsettle a lot of drivers, create a lot of movement, and obviously could create some kind of an incident.
Yeah, you know, you really don't want to see that. You really want solid, 5 gig internet if you're going to run something like iRacing. Yeah, I feel like you baited me into that one. So we had to mention
kind of did.
But on a serious note, though, you really need to have solid internet because, you know, you're connecting to the server and all these other drivers. And, you know, if you don't, stuff like that could happen. And unfortunately for Cozy, he just got his nose cut off. And it could have been a reaction to, you know, you seeing that and then you trying to make evasive action. You don't want to hit anybody, and you actually end up hitting someone in the process of doing it. But hopefully he'll be able to get that fixed. It didn't like too much damage. And I do want to report, by the way, the 8 of Colby Mites is out of the race now. So unfortunate for him, he's out. But other than that, we've seen some little incidents, but we've managed to keep this thing clean and green so far.
Yeah, and Colby Mice, coming off of a top 10 from Daytona just 1 week ago, finished 6th in that number 8 machine. Had himself a good run, so heartbreaker for him to end his night just shy of, obviously, the end of the first stage. And remember, this first stage coming up to the end, once they complete lap 25, so this time by at the line, there will be, right now, as they hit lap 15, 11 laps to go in this stage. So you're going to want to make the most of it. We're seeing this outside lane really start to truck along that top side. That's led by Cody McKinney, the winner, obviously, of a lot of races last season, pretty much Richie Coy's biggest competition. Those two dominated the season last year. Cody McKinney picked up the Season B championship, but obviously Richie Coy ended up coming through and winning the playoffs. Did a really good job. Brody Hanna won the Season C title. So we're going to have to see. This is a long season for these guys. They got a lot of opportunities to pick up a lot of races. It would definitely feel good for them if they were to pick up a victory, just like James Mullins did last week at Daytona.
Yeah, it definitely would. And, you know, I really like, this whole season thing they do. They do, an A, B, and a C season. So you have, an A, B, and C champion. And then you have, they all run together, too. So you have the playoffs champion. It's really cool how they work it. You were mentioning their website. I went and checked it out, and there's a lot of useful information on there. It's perfectly designed for someone like us that needs to get in there and check it out. So really cool there, and they've proven to be good racing as well. On top of that is we're really starting off just like we did at Daytona. We may go caution free here to the stage, so this could be very interesting to see how they ramp up and how quickly they ramp up once we get to those last few laps.
Yeah, for sure, no doubt about it. And obviously it is closing in. You see Cody McKinney there up on the outside of Sherwood Williford in that Kevin Harvick 2001 Richmond throwback with Looney Tunes, the good wrench colors. Took the traditional white, made it silver that night. Lots of drivers, especially RCR, decided to run all Looney Tunes themed cars for, I believe it was the Chevy Rock and Roll 400 at the time. And all those cars, most of them out there were Looney Tunes themed cars, and that's one of the trademarks for Sherwood Williford. He's out there when he's always running that number 33 scheme, always got Taz on there. He's got the Roadrunner, I believe. He's also got Wile E. Coyote. So Going to be interesting to see what he can do after a second place run at Daytona, like we mentioned just a few moments ago. You see Cody McKinney being able to actually clear Sherwood Williford. He's not able to close the gap to that 9 machine of Marshall Johnson. Will Cody McKinney jump down? We're going to have to find out, but he looks pretty comfortable up at the top right now here. Charles, you see that number 1 machine of Nick Goebel? He is the one with the internet connection issue. So I can only imagine that's probably hindering this outside lane from really getting up towards the front right here.
Yeah, we were wondering who it is, and now we know. They it comes back a little bit. Hopefully, maybe it'll go away. Maybe it's in the pack that you see it a little bit more. So yeah, and that's really going to hurt that outside lane too, because if you're behind him, you're scared. You don't want to get too close to him in case he does and comes back in. If you're in front of him, you're not really getting any draft either if he disappears. So it really is going to hinder that outside lane from making moves. So I'm with you. I'm wondering if you're someone like the 28 of Cody McKinney, are you going to try to get down as quick as you can and get to that inside lane? Because I think that may be a little bit safer place right now with the one having a little bit of a connection issue.
Tell you what, if it was me driving that number 28 machine, that is exactly what I would do probably, but obviously Cody feels the confidence in that number 1 machine. And one thing to point out too for this race, compared to the iRacing rules when you're in official racing sessions and hosted sessions, is that double line rule, not yellow, but red and white, the double white line rule here, we'll call it this week in Atlanta. You can go down there, but the FTSR rulebook, they have not allowed passing or going down below the racing surface, so that will be in effect tonight. And Charles, we've seen it time after time, whether it be league racing here on iRacing or in the real world, that out-of-bounds line becomes kind of an issue here late in these races, and a lot of guys can really get caught up in some incident like that.
Yeah, and it's really cool they do enforce that, where you can't go below there, because that can cause issues in a race. You get down there and you go below that little apron, and it really can mess with the setup. And that's the other thing we haven't really hit on, as we're seeing the 6 of James Troy go a lap down. Now these are open sets with 4 sets of tires, so you can make tweaks on these. They're still 3 wide, and this is get a little hairy for them. But since they are open sets, if it's not running the way you want, you can come in on this stage caution and make some changes.
Yeah, we're going to have to see what that will entail. 20 laps here, you will definitely burn up those tires. But with that being said, 1 lap to go here in the stage. Cody McKinney has got a great run, and look at James Mullins pulled out to the outside lane, trying to get around the number 27 machine. Some shuffling back there. You see Richie Coy go below the line. Cody McKinney trying to push this 60 all the way. Sherwood Williford got put 3 wide for a second, but off turn number 4, it's looking like Ryan Chapman is going to win stage number 1 while they all fan out behind him. He wins by about 3/4 of a truck length, and just like that, we are under our first caution of the night for the completion of stage 1. Won by Mr. Ryan Chapman. Your pole sitter, James Mullins, finishes P2. Marshall Johnson 3rd. McKinney 4th. Nick Goebel, despite internet connection issues, he comes home for a top 5 there in stage number 1. Sherwood Williford, Michael Blackner, Brody Hanna, Richie Coy, and Tom Price rounds out your top 10. Charles, it's looking like so far these guys are being really aggressive. I can only imagine what the second stage is going to bring.
Yeah, I think that second stage is going to bring a little bit more aggression. I'm honest, I thought we might see a little wreck there coming to the line, but we didn't. These guys, they duked it out. And I say we haven't seen a caution. A lot of people might assume, well, it's been boring racing. No, it's good racing. We just haven't seen that caution. And, it goes to show the respect these guys have. But, I agree. I think caution, or stage 2 will be a little bit more. And that final stage and the final laps is going to get really, really good.
Well, these guys are going to come down to the service of their virtual pit crews here, make some tweaks to their setups, take 4 fresh Goodyear Eagle tires, and some Sunoco Racing fuel. And with that, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back for the start of Stage 2. Don't go anywhere. This is the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series at Atlanta.
At Click It RV, we know there's a lot of heritage and history at this location. RV sales and service has been part of this community for decades. We knew there was an incredible opportunity here, but to see where we've come in just a year is incredible. None of it would be possible without the patronage and support from this community. So whether it be a more convenient and accessible service drive, a fully stocked parts department, or this amazing sales facility, what drives this team daily is making sure our customers leave here with the best possible experience.
Hi, welcome to Day Motorsports. Come on, check out what we got.
Thank you for keeping Day Motorsports in business for over 50 years.
Welcome back to round number 2 of the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series here from Hotlanta, Atlanta Motor Speedway here down in Hampton, Georgia, on the iRacing service here. Just got done wrapping up stage number 1. Drivers have taken their first set, obviously, of Goodyear Eagle tires back behind that wall. Charles, we saw a really dominant performance pretty much by Ryan Chapman and James Mullins there, both by the Elevated Esports guys. They've been the strong ones so far. Do you think we see anybody here in this stage 2 contend for a stage win and possibly that lead?
Yeah, normally, you see these guys and you think, okay, they've been up front dominating. But the fact that it's open setup, I think we might see somebody, it doesn't take a small tweak, maybe an air pressure. You can do your brake bias. You can make little bitty tweaks and it could really change the whole handling of your car. So as of now, I'm going to say maybe someone's got a shot if they went and made some changes. Time will tell on that one. I know you have these, you can see them on the back bumper that it says PSR, PR setups. That is, I believe, Premier setups. So some of these guys have setup shops they're using, but time will tell if anybody has anything for them.
That would be the Premier Racing Setup Shops guys, I believe there. You see Cody McKinney, Nick Goebel supporting those colors. And just like that, the iRacing sedan pace car makes a left turn down onto the pit road. And just like that, we're back under racing here. Green flag back out in the air. Stage number 2 is underway. Stage break. Lap 55 is when you will see, at the end of 55 that is, for stage number 2's conclusion. Just like he did stage number 1, Ryan Chapman gets out to a good lead. This time, though, James Mullins going to be up on the outside lane. Nick Goebel, Cody McKinney going to push that 27 all the way down the back and back to turn 3.
Yeah, we'll see. And obviously, we hinted on that Elliott Sadler Esports machine of Mullins. We'll see if he can be as fast as he was. Obviously, he's up front, and he's been doing a good job. But Chapman, like you mentioned, he's been up there, and he has been a very dominant force in this race so far, as we're still 2 by 2 all the way back except for Chapman. And I did not expect to see that. Chapman just went up to the top side, and that may cost him the lead, Jason.
Yeah, and it's going to cost him the lead right here, because here comes Nick Goebel and Cody McKinney to the inside. They're going to be able to take this race lead right here. This outside lane was solid in the first stage, but they were not able to get to the race lead until the very end. But Ryan Chapman was on the bottom, was still working it, was able to pick up the stage victory, obviously. And now he's running up on that outside lane, still trying to figure out what lane he wants to go with right now with James Mullins. Back to turn number 3. He'll go from top back to bottom. Now he could be put in the middle right here. Nick Goebel almost had a fender in on the left rear quarter panel of Ryan Chapman back down the front straightaway to complete lap 32. We're on lap 33 now as they head back to 1.
Yeah, and I will never compare a driver to the late, great Dale Earnhardt Sr., because there won't be a driver, on that level again. But Chapman is showing, shades of that when he was doing that. He was going lane to lane, kind of trying to control both lanes, and he used to do that all the time. And it's a good move. It could lead to getting hooked, so he's got to be careful. But he is not going to lead this lap. But yeah, you can try to control both lanes. It's a very difficult task to do, and unfortunately, this could be a product of it where you lose the lead.
And this time, Goebel and Chapman have swapped positions. Goebel was on the bottom. He's at the top. Chapman went from the bottom to the top. Now he's back down into the bottom. And they have completely different drafting partners behind them. Chapman with McKinney. And obviously the one with the 60. They're going to go 3 wide for the race lead this time. Coming off turn number 4, the one nearly tank slaps the wall. Gets back in line. Heads up driving by the one of Nick Goebel. And just like that, James Mullins, your Daytona winner from last week, trying to go 2 in a row, trying to pick up his stakes victory. He's side by side with the 27 this time, coming off 2.
Yeah, and he, I believe Mullins led that. If he did, it was by maybe a paint flake on the front bumper. It was that close to it. But it was a really good battle. And, we talked about it ramping up a little bit. You are starting to see a little bit more, take and a less give. As people are trying to get to the front. You mentioned it. Lap 55, the cutoff point for stage 2. And while we got a little ways to go there, I will say this. We only have 95 laps to go in the entire race. So we're under the 100 mark. So laps are winding down fast when we're running, 2 laps a minute.
Yeah, pretty much 2 laps a minute. You see, obviously, these guys flying around back to the start-finish line. Most laps around the 30.9, 31 flat range. So, and that time could fall off a little bit here in this third stage coming up if we do get green flag runs. Talked about tires being an issue. 4 sets of tires behind the wall. They've already taken 1, so 3 sets left. And Charles, compared to most super speedways, we have never really seen tire wear be a factor unless it was like the old Daytona International Speedway. But now, since the repave in 2011, it was when they did complete it for the start of the Daytona 500. Tire wear is not usually a factor, and especially with the handling of these trucks, and even the Xfinity Series, the Cup Series. But here at Atlanta, tires do matter here, so you got to lay off a little bit in these corners. Especially getting through the center, because if you don't, you keep that throttle in, you are going to burn up that right front, and you are really going to be in trouble as you see Cody McKinney here trying to go to the race lead.
Yeah, McKinney trying to get to the race lead, and like you mentioned, you really have to protect those tires. And, when I think about tires and trying to protect them, I go back to that the Days of Thunder where he tells Cole Trickle to, run, 10 laps your way, 10 laps my way. And you've got to run Harry's style when you're here. You can't just be, going all out, because it will tear your tires up. And, as you mentioned, you only have those 4 sets, and they've already used one of them. So, yeah, late in this race, you're going to want those tires.
Just like Harry said, my way, his way. So we're going to see, obviously, how these tires do wear out by the end of this stage. And really the big what if is, how are they going to drive, how are they going to handle for stage number 3 when we have that longer green flag run from after lap 55 all the way to the checkered on lap number 130. But you see Cody McKinney, he's been able to take the lead. And there's Brody Hanna, the number 23 machine, won the last time we were out here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. He likes this track. He likes the super speedway style races. We were just talking to him prior to the broadcast. You see him there in that 23 Sim Racing Points FTSR machine there in the Ford F-150. And not a lot of Fords out here tonight, Charles. You look at this field, it's really dominated by the Toyotas. You have a few Chevys sprinkled in there, but when you look at the Fords, only 6 Fords here, and only 4 of them are on the lead lap, and it's sprinkled in. You have Brody Hanna, you have his teammate Richie Cole, Tony Salon, Michael Blackner, all the Fury guys running those Ford F-150s there, and they are showing some headway here as they're climbing their way up through the ranks towards the front.
Yeah, they are climbing their way up as we go down the back stretch here and into turn number 3 and 4 to start lap 43 here in just a minute. No, we saw it ramp up a little bit within those last laps to the stages. Here shortly, we will be 10 to the stage caution. And I want to bring it up here. We'll check it in. Not as many lead changes as I thought we would see, Jason. Only 4 so far, and virtually no cautions. You know, if you count the stage 1-1, but not as many lead changes as I thought we would see.
Yeah, we also got to remember, too, this track, with how narrow it is, only being about 2 wide. 3 wide is a super-duper stretch. Really hard to do that. They've done that quite a couple times here tonight. Sure, we'll see that more as this race winds down here towards the end. But it's really hard to pass here. You really only see 2 wide racing. You see some single-file racing. There's Marshall Johnson. Gets off the bottom from getting loose, touching the apron. He'll give up that spot to Nick Goebbels. He starts to drop back into the clutches of Michael Blackner. The one falls back to the 43's bumper of Lewis Meglin there, and that Toyota Tundra machine back to turn number 3. So this is probably what you're going to see. A lot of 2 wide racing here. Hard to pass, and if you want that outside to work, you're going to have to get formed up really, really well, like what we saw here at the start of stage 2 and towards the end of stage 1.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I want to see what the sun looks like looking on in the helmet cam of Marshall Johnson. We saw the reflection off the car. I believe the sun is off to their left. So we're not seeing it right now. I'm curious if we're going to see any sun coming in. And if we did, I had a feeling it would be right in here. Nope, sun is high enough. So it may be a very hot day at 100 degrees on the track and 87 air, but Jason, the sun really not beaming down in their face, so good news for these drivers. The sun will not be playing a factor in not being able to see down a straightaway or a turn.
Yeah, and you obviously caught Monday's Daytona 500. That race went from pretty much right towards when the sun was going down and then into the night, and visibility was definitely limited with the sun beating down on those drivers inside their cockpits. It was very hard to see, so thankfully not going to be an issue for these guys here tonight. So you're seeing them go back down into 1 and 2. Chapman has been able to work that top lane back to where he was. He's got help from James Mullins behind him. Cody McKinney still leading that inside lane with help from Brody Hanna. Also his teammate Richie Coy right back behind them. Lots of guys, though, hungry to try to get this stage when they're coming to lap 48 this time by. We're going to see some aggressiveness probably starting to pick up here. Look at those 3 trucks up on the outside doing a great job. Tell you what, Charles, if I were anybody wanting to get pushed by somebody, James Mullins definitely a good pusher here.
Yeah, I 100% agree. You know, he's got a good power plant. He's got a good setup. It looks like he was up front, in the last race. He's up front now. So, yeah, him and Chapman are the 2 guys I would want to work with if they would work with me. So, you ever have that driver that you're racing with, Jason, that you refuse to leave them out to dry because you do not want them to do it to you later in the race? They're not really your teammate, but you just want to work with them and, be frenemies, I guess you could call it.
Been there, done that. Been there before. And I tell you what, it is definitely a good feeling knowing that you have somebody behind you. Actually, funny enough, me and Tim Duggar, country music superstar and artist, friend of Dale Jr.'s, friend of NASCAR's, me and him a couple years back ran Talladega Be Fixed. I ran with Tim Duggar pretty much the whole race, worked really good together until we got taken out in somebody's mess going into turn 3 with about 4 laps to go. So shout out to Tim Duggar for being an excellent drafting partner at the super speedways. And you see James Mullins still laying the bumper to the rear of that 27 machine. He's actually going to shoot him out right to the front of this field. And Charles, we've seen once this 27 gets clear, will we see him try to manage both lanes at once? He's the only driver who has tried to do that here tonight, and he looks like he might be able to get back to the race lead. But when he does, do you think he's going to start to try to maintain these lanes towards the end of the stage?
Yeah, I think he is. It worked out good for him before, and I think we'll see him do it again if he can get clear. That's the problem right now. He's up on the high side, and he's just not able to clear the 28 of McKinney. As McKinney being pushed by Brody Hanna, and they're proven to be a force to be reckoned with here late in stage number 2 as we start lap number 52 with 79 to go and just a handful in the stage number 2. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to be able to get there.
tell you what, you said 79 to go. I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have had to get out my calculator. Not very good at math, especially as a broadcaster, so I guess that's a problem. But you see them coming down the back straightaway this time by, approaching lap 53. Only going to be 3 laps to go here in the stage, and so far it has been Cody McKinney pretty much dominating this one, with some sprinkles of Ryan Chapman up there as well in the mix, trying to lead at the line. You see Brody Hanna, he's thinking about possibly ducking out of line. He'll tuck back in line behind the McKinney machine, back to 1 and 2. Everybody just double wide here. You can't really go 3 wide, so I think what you got is what you got. You just want to try to push us hard here to the end.
Yeah, you do. And, you know, full disclosure, I don't want people thinking I'm any smarter than I am. Inside the overlays, I actually have a back end that tells me how many laps there are. I built in so I didn't have to remember. So I am definitely a cheater. But yeah, 77 to go and about 2 to go till the stage. And man, I heard they were getting a little wild and Western out here, and they've definitely ramped it up in the last 2 laps.
Yeah, you saw the one machine of Nick Goebel. He went from the top down to the bottom. Ryan Chapman got really high coming off turn number 4, similar to what he just did, and then opened up the door big time for James Mullins. Thought about taking them 3 wide. They got back in line. The only one who benefited from that was Nick Goebel, picking up a couple positions now with 2 laps to go. Now make it 1 lap to go in the stage. Cody McKinney wants this stage win, was so dominant with stages last year, but Brody Hanna, last year's Atlanta winner, right on his heels, and he's going to duck out to the outside with his teammate Richie Coy, try to put the side draft, nearly making contact. They're going to slide up into turn number 3, and Brody Hanna might have just pulled the greatest move of the race, nearly making contact with McKinney to the line. Brody Hanna wins stage number 2 and nearly gets shuffled out of line, and I believe we have a big crash coming past the start-finish line. Tom Price, James Mullins, lots of drivers involved in this one, so not only the end of stage more contact. Ryan Bliss turns the number 60 after the caution flag. Wouldn't say that was retaliation, but we're going to take a look right here. Off turn number 4, you see James Mullins right behind the rear tailgate of the 27 machine. And right to the line, they just create a stack up. Everybody slows down, and then Michael Blackner ARCA brakes right into the 60 machine. The 5 as well of Tom Price collects. You see right there the 3 of Brian Bliss, and then Brian just trying to get back on the track. Wasn't paying attention, just unfortunately turns to 60. And boy, oh boy. And Charles, that's a thing we have seen here at Atlanta Motor Speedway in some league races before, is coming to the end of these stages. You see guys trying to go for everything they can. And unfortunately, that was just caused because everybody was slowing down. Yeah, the front guys, you know, they're the first ones to see the yellow. They're the first ones to see it slowing down, or to get to slow down, and just a little bit of checking up. And unfortunately, it led to some bent fenders. And like I said, I agree with you. No retaliation. He was just trying to get back on the track, and you know, didn't quite see that he was there. And you know, after you're done spinning and going all over the place, you're a little discombobulated, confused, and you know, you might not know exactly where you are, and you know, he just got into his back bumper. Well, with that being said, the conclusion of stage 2, won by Brody Hanna. These guys are going to come to the service of their virtual pit crews again for the second time here tonight. We're going to step away, take a quick break, and we'll be right back for the start of stage number 3 here on LSRTV. This is the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series from Atlanta. We'll be right back.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series from the Atlanta Motor Speedway here in Hampton, Georgia. Getting ready to start stage number 3 like we mentioned. Conclusion of stage 2 just wrapped up. First real incident of the night, Charles. We saw these guys stack up after the green and white checkered flag was displayed. And we saw some guys obviously get taken out. You saw Jamie Mullins. He was involved in that one. And now he's going to have to make his way coming from the back in 20th. So it's going to be interesting to see what Mullins can do there.
Yeah, he's got his work cut out for him. And, I think he can do it. He wants to have a good points night finish. And real quick, I want to hit on that one. You mentioned them. Obviously the sponsor for this Sim Racing Points. I was talking to Brody about it. I was like, what is this? I've never heard of them. Obviously hadn't done this. And, it's basically, like Sim Racer Hub, but actually, a little bit better. You can go in there and demo it, simracingpoints.com. It was a really good website for league point systems, and obviously they created it to have, something better for them, and it looks really good, and I think more people should use it.
Definitely recommend it for sure, no doubt about it. They do a great job over there at Sim Racing Points, designing especially the website for the full throttle sim racing community and drivers and fans like myself, also drivers. If we can make another start here this season, we'll see about that one. Works are being made possibly. But just like that, green flag's back out, already coming back to complete the first lap of this stage here. On lap number 60-61 now, going up on the board, Brody Hanna led him back to the green. He's going to lead him that time to the line. He's got his teammate Richie Coy in the Victory Fuel machine right to the outside with him. He's being pushed by Ryan Chapman. Brody Hanna has Cody McKinney hot on his heels there coming off turn number 2.
Yeah, they're, this is it. This is the last bit. We have 70 laps to go. It is basically all or nothing now. You've got to get going if you want to get going. And these guys know it. Again, you say 70 laps, like, that's a lot to go. But again, with 30-second laps, you're looking at about 35 minutes of racing. So you don't have a lot.
We saw Brian Bliss, other guys as well, coming through to the stage, and unfortunately they had a little bit of a bobble, created an incident, but possibly could have one here in stage 3. And Charles, the thing is these guys can't make it to the end. I asked Richie Coy before the start of the race, I said, hey man, what is the race strategy with the fuel looking like? He said it's looking like it's about 55 laps, obviously. So we're going to see how long they can go, about 45 to 55 laps on fuel and tires. So we do have to pit one more time. 2 sets of Goodyear Eagles remaining behind the virtual walls here for these sim drivers. So will they have to do it under green? Will they have to do it under yellow? That's the big question probably in the back of these drivers' minds, and also us up here in the booth as you see Brody Hanna and Cody McKinney still duking it out for the lead with the 19 of Richie Coy to the outside in there in 2.
I don't know if I want to do caution or if I want to do it under green. This is where you get into debate. If you do it under caution, it's less risk, but less reward too. You do it under green and you could try to short pit somebody and do some strategy. It's a lot more risk because if you make a mistake, it's going to cost you more, but the reward could be higher. So, I'm torn about a 50-50 split of if I want that to be under caution or if I want it to be under green. But if we do it under green, it's going to be interesting to see if somebody does try to play a strategy and short pit on the rest of this field and try to get an advantage.
I'll tell you what, I am a guy who definitely would like to pit under caution for sure. I just hope I'm not the cause of the caution, because it is super, super hard to get to pit road here at Atlanta. They do not have the pit road on the back straightaway, the entrance line, like they do, obviously, in the real race. The real Truck Series, Xfinity, and Cup Series race there. Usually it's right here, coming down the back straightaway. You're going to see right here, right there, usually at the bottom of the apron, there is a pit entrance line and cone. And they will wrap around 3 and 4 and then back down to pit road, kind of like Bristol. You enter on the back straightaway if your pit stop, or pit stall rather, is on the front straightaway. But these guys with the sim, they don't have that pit line on the back straightaway. They have it in turns 3 and 4, like a normal mile-and-a-half racetrack. So you try to slow these guys down and go from that steep 28 degrees of banking down to 55, 45 miles an hour to get down to pit road. It's going to be really tough, Charles. These guys have to, go for a green flag stop.
Yeah, it's going to be definitely tough. And, like you mentioned, that speed, getting down to 55 miles an hour, you get caught speeding on pit road, that is going to be detrimental and very well could cost you. And you may be banking no caution, and if you get caught speeding or, miss your pit stall or whatever it may be, you're probably going to be screaming the opposite. Show me a caution. I want to get back on the lead lap. So, yeah, you do not want to make mistakes. Right now, the person that's not making any mistakes, that is Richie Coy and Brody Hanna. They're leading this field on the inside and the outside. And, these guys, they're going to work together. And this is a good strategy, while you can lead, one person can lead both lanes. If you've got teammates, you can lead the inside and the outside. You can really control this race, too.
Yeah, you definitely can, but you're seeing these guys neck and neck pretty much. You see Brody Hanna there on the bottom, Richie Coy up top. Nobody really able to have an advantage over one another. The inside lane a little bit more dominant than the top. And here, look at this. Here comes Robert Malicki and shot out of a cannon to the outside, trying to work around Fury Motorsports driver Michael Blackner, not able to complete the pass. He's got Joey McKinney right on his bumper, a driver last year, no wins, but Joey ran really well at Daytona for the summer race, but got taken out early on, so trying to redeem himself here on a super speedway from that many, many months ago. Doing a great job working from pretty much the back of this field necessarily, or mid-pack. Now he's up inside the top 10, doing a great job in that number 18 machine.
And I believe you, I don't know if you did tell me or not, but you got the Joseph McKinney and the Cody McKinney. I believe you said there is a relation, father-son there?
I believe it's father-son, or it's brothers. I think they're brothers. I'm not too sure there because I haven't had the opportunity to talk to the both of them, and I haven't really asked, but I believe, if I am correct, they are brothers, so there is an affiliation there. But one's always up at the front, one's always trying to strive for better. And hopefully maybe that could be the case tonight for Mr. McKinney there in that number 18 machine, beating Joey McKinney there, running up on the outside lane, doing a great job here in Atlanta. Why? Cody running P3, going to P2 possibly right here, getting past Richie Coy, laying the bumper to the 23, coming to the tri-oval this time by lap 74. He goes up on the board, and Charles's laps are ticking away quick, just like you said, about 2 laps a minute. These guys are really hauling the mail right now.
Yeah, I mean, what was it, like 5 minutes ago, we said there was 70 laps to go. Now we have 57 laps to go. Yeah, they're definitely hauling the mail, and a lot faster than my postal man does it, that is for sure. As they get clicking away laps. Obviously a little bit slower. They were 30.4s. Now we're looking at we were looking at 30.1s, as the only 30-second lap on the track is Richie Coy. He actually ran a 30.9. Everyone else in the 31s, and actually, Tony Soler also ran a 30. So 30 to 31s is what we're running right now, but still blistering fast laps around here. And you mentioned it a while ago, they are still side by side. Nobody has really got an advantage, whether it's the inside or the outside.
And I promise you, they're not going to look like this when they come across the checkers here tonight. That's for dang sure. For here at Atlanta Motor Speedway, with obviously it being so tight, only being able to run about 2 wide. 3 wide is a super duper stretch, like you mentioned earlier. And you see this bottom lane still being the dominant lane, but the top has shown its strengths from time to time throughout the night. You saw Ryan Chapman lead it. You saw Brian Bliss lead, or not Brian Bliss, rather, but the one machine of Nick Goebel lead it. You saw Cody McKinney lead it. 23 lead it. Lots of guys have led that outside lane tonight, but it's just really been a bottom feeder racetrack here tonight, and the outside lane is just struggling to try to get up to this front here.
Yeah, and we'll hit on this more in the end, as we don't know who's going to win, but whoever wins, assuming they do accept it and give the address needed to ship it, the winner gets a 4-pack of Victory Fuel, and we mentioned that because Richie Coy in the 19 is leading this race right now. I don't know. I guess he can ship himself some if he wins this. But, you know, just another incentive to win one of these races because everybody needs a little bit of energy. So, hey, why not get some free pack of Victory Fuel energy drink?
Yeah, Victory Fuel, obviously the electrolyte water started by Kevin Swindell there in the dirt world. Great things coming from Mr. Kevin Swindell. And obviously Victory Fuel becoming a big partner for Richie Coy, obviously FTSR, and becoming a part of the iRacing community, doing great things. And Charles, you think if Richie Coy wins this race, you talk about shipping it to himself, you think he sends himself an email or a Discord message saying, hey man, what's your address? And then he has to type back to himself. I mean, I guess that's the best conversation you can have to yourself is when you're talking to yourself, because you can't be criticized but anybody but yourself.
Well, that is very true. So we'll have to ask him if he wins, if he's going to message himself, as he's doing a great job right now. But the way it's looking as of the moment, it would be Brody Hanna that he would have to send it to, and send it to one of his teammates. As, again, just fantastic racing. Taking a look here at that. Here's your VA811 Dig with Care. We've seen a few more lead changes, Jason, but no cautions other than the stage cautions.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. And obviously you talk about Brody Hanna winning. If he did, that Richie Coy would have to send him 4-pack of Victory Fuel. Obviously Victory Fuel coming on board for the FTSR season, and obviously Richie Coy. And it's also the sponsor of Victory Lane this year. And use COY19 at checkout on the Victory Fuel website. You'll save a little bit of money, a little bit of cash back in your pocket, back in your bank rather. I guess you could say that. And you could have some delicious electrolyte water. I believe there's fruit punch and I think pineapple, if I'm correct. I know that I'm definitely going for fruit punch. I think fruit punch is definitely the one I'd go for, because I am definitely not a pineapple guy, but I am a sucker for anything fruit punch pretty much. And that's why you see that in dual colors of the white, yellow, red machine right there, Richie Coy. And he's doing a really good job still running up at the top of this racetrack. He's got help from his buddy and teammate Tony Solari up at the top of this racetrack. And now they're side by side. Richie might be able to get a push. It's just Michael Blackner, their other Fury Motorsports driver, not able to close the gap. And that's the thing, Charles, about running this top side here at Atlanta. If you are not tight and compact together, it is really hard to make a run. So not only do the top two trucks have to do what they have to do, but the back guys, like a Blackner, like a Milikian, like an 18 machine of Joey McKinney, they have to do what they got to do to help those leaders get up to the front.
Yeah, you know, it really is like a team effort. Everybody's got to do their part to make it work. And like you just mentioned, and they're doing it right now. They're hanging in there side by side, and outside doesn't have quite as few many, so they're able to stay side by side, but they're not able to, get that momentum to push out front, and that's what they really need. The problem is, and it happens all the time, it's racing. If you get somebody like Richie Coy out front, then he's going to slide down and it kills the momentum of the outside lane. So, you want to push the guy up there because you want to get up there, but you don't want him to leave you either, and they know that's a risk that's going to happen if you push him ahead of him.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a big risk because obviously green flag pit stops looming out in the distance. We're on lap 85 right now. These guys last pitted at lap 57, so you think about the 55 laps of fuel that Richie Coy talked to us about. You could probably go until lap 100, maybe lap 110, and then you're going to see some of these guys probably duck down to the entrance of pit road. And that's what I'm interested to see here, because I have not seen, at least that I can remember, I have not seen green flag pit stops happen here at Atlanta. And with not having the back straightaway pit lane entrance entering turn number 3 on the apron, I am really interested to see how these guys are going to try to get to pit road exiting turn number 4.
Yeah, and to add to that, to make it even more interesting, the fact that you have people like Richie Coy, Tony Soler, Brody Hanna, these guys are teammates. They work together, and they're on the top and the bottom. They're not, on the bottom together. How are they going to get to the bottom together? Because obviously they're going to want to pit together as well. So that's going to play a real factor into this race as well. You know, you want to pit with your teammates because it is kind of a super speedway track now with this new configuration. So, you know, there is so many unanswered questions right now that we just don't have the answers to. And like you said, when it comes time to pit, it's going to get real interesting.
Definitely going to get real interesting for sure. And something that's interesting to note, too, you look back at James Mullins. Remember earlier, got involved in that crash coming to the end of stage number 2. He has worked his way back from 20th on the grid at the start of stage 2. Now he finds himself in the top 10, so nice little recovery for the driver of the number 60 machine. We'll see where this leads him by the end of this race. Noticing the tires starting to go away as I see it. Oh no, the Michael Blackner sideways in front of the 60. Hard collision with Robert Bilicki, and everybody scrambles. Caution is out. I believe Tommy Schaefer's involved. No, James Mullins was involved. There's the 22 machine of Michael Blackner. And even before this was starting to happen, I was just about to say that 16 and 22 were really wide here, Charles, the lap before, and unfortunately all heck broke loose exiting turn 4.
Yeah, right there he gets loose, and he almost saves it. Oh, if he hadn't had the truck right there that he bumped into, he probably would have had that saved. But yeah, there's just not enough room when you start getting squirmy like that and the tires going out from under you. And unfortunately, you know, it led to the caution. But man, a solid run. You know, I'm not counting stages. We had 88 lap green flag run, not counting stages. That's impressive.
Yeah, that is pretty impressive, but dang it, we don't get our wish to see those green flag pit stops. So they're going to come to the aid of their pit crews right now. And for the final time, we're going to step aside again one more time before the conclusion of tonight's Atlanta 200. Richie Coy led him down into pit road. He is your race leader after that crash. We're going to step aside one more time. We'll be right back for the conclusion of race number 2 for the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series. We'll be right back.
We ready, it's time. It's nothing but hustle inside of the huddle. You know that I grind. A dangerous mind, a weapon of choice when pushing the line. Go overtime and I won't break when it's crunch time. My end game is number 1. Bet it all, give me my cash. Supreme game, can't stop it. Take off like a rocket. Break your back, don't bend mine. I'm the one now, you can't hide. Legendary like legacy. This is our moment, our time. This is our moment. This is our time. Time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. Yeah. Coming for glory. We ready for war. The city's behind us. We giving you more. We ready whenever. The world is watching. The time is now. No other option. No other way. Play to win the way that we play. Destined for greatness, born to be great, ahead of the game. In front of the pack, leading the way, it's time to reign. The kingdom's here. This was our year. Been to the bottom, ain't nothing to fear. We running the game. Rushing the field for every yard, on every play. Nobody's safe. Rise when we fall, but never stay down. The champs is here. Doing it for the 10. This is our moment. This is our time. The time is now. It's time to rise. This is our moment. This is our time. This is our time. It's our moment. It's our time. Feet in the dirt. Nose to the grind. Like moment after moment. Day after day. It's our time.
Welcome back to the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series here. Just got done wrapping up our first real caution of the evening. A couple of drivers went spinning out of turn number 4. All started when Michael Blackner got sideways collected Robert Malicki and other drivers as well. But coming back down to the green flag. Just like that, it's back out. Richie Coy, Cody McKinney front row. They're going to lead him back down here, Charles. Lap 92 goes up on the board, and man, we're closing in on 30 laps to go. It's getting really tight. We just saw how crazy it could get. It's going to get crazy now.
Yeah, you know, the old saying, cautions breed cautions. So we do have that to see if it pans out that way or if they're going to stay clean. But with 39 to go, coming up to 38 to go this time by, yeah, it's go time. Things are about to get, as I like to say, wild and western here very soon. So, you know, the question is, how wild is it going to get? Well, we'll know that here in the next probably 20 laps or so.
We're definitely going to figure it out. Now these guys have a lot more grip, so we're going to see how they run this time coming off turn number 2. New tires are on, old tires are off. You got that grip, you got what you got, so you got to make sure you're saving just a little bit of tire for the end of this race, because that grip can go a long way here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Richie Coy leads the field coming off turn number 4 this time. Brody Hanna right in tow on the back bumper of his teammate, while their other teammate, Tony Solari, pushes the number 28 of Cody McKinney to the 3rd spot next to Ryan Chapman entering 2.
Yeah, and you gotta be happy for Tony Solari. Even if he doesn't win this, the fact that he's had the PC issues, he's able to even in this race right now after all those, he got them fixed. So, you know, a podium or even a top 5, top 10 would be a win for him, I think, here tonight. So he is definitely looking forward to just finishing this race and having a solid run after 2 basically DNFs, or DNS technically did not start the last 2, but you know, can you imagine how you kick off the season? Momentum is always a good thing. If you could get a 1-2-3 with Coy, Hanna, and Solari all getting 1-2-3 here tonight, and they're in a good position for it.
Yeah, they definitely could. Obviously, they come to these super speedways, they almost act like an old DEI. You think back to the Dale Earnhardt Incorporated days when they used to be so strong on the super speedways in the early 2000s, going 3 wide there for a moment. You saw the 60 of James Mullins. Now they're really going to go 3 wide. Nick Goebel going through the middle, 1 truck outside. They're going to put him on the outside sucker hole, trying to see if they can get back in line. We'll see how they come back to turn number 3. This field, oh no, there he goes, up and into the wall. I believe that was Tommy Schaefer, TJ Bartel, one driver in the DeWalt colors. It was TJ Bartel up into the wall, and his F-150 falls back to the front bumper of James Torrey in that Brad Keselowski Worth Road back machine there. On the bottom, you see Michael Blackner involved in that last caution. He leads that bottom side in the back of the field, but Richie Coy still able to maintain up here at the front. And Charles, we saw these guys get aggressive just for a moment there. They're already starting to get aggressive, and we're just approaching 30 to go. Yeah, just close to 30 laps to go. And, things are ramping up. I didn't think we'd see, quite yet. I thought with about 20 to go we would see it. But again, 30 laps, 15 minutes. That's not a lot of time. These guys know that they don't have a lot of time, so they've got to get to the front. And somebody who's there, that is the 60 of James Mullins. He is in 8th place right now. He is in contention to win this. He's just got to get to the front. Like you mentioned him just a second ago, I believe you said he was 20th on the restart of stage number 2. So he has made a huge recovery after that little incident. Yeah, 1 lap ago, somebody who made a great recovery right there, at least to save his truck, was the 33 of Sherwood Williford. Got shuffled out of line right off the bumper of, I believe, the 99 of J.P. Burns, or at least 1 truck back there. Got shuffled out of line 2 laps ago in turn number 2. Got to the apron. Now he finds himself all the way at the back of this field. But the only plus about being back there right now, Charles, is if they were to wreck, he is in the catbird seat. Or if there is a massive wreck, to get back up towards the front of this field. But we are yet to see that. We've seen a lot of slicing and dicing, close calls, but mainly in the middle of the pack here tonight. And if you're up at the front, it looks like you're really, really setting yourself in a good position here for the end of this race. This time by, they're going to come down to 30 laps to go. Things are getting aggressive. I expect with about probably 10 laps to go, Charles, is when you're really going to see all the chaos unfold.
Yeah, I definitely agree. You know, you're starting to see a little bit more slicing and dicing. And, you know, if these guys were chefs, they'd be professionals because they're doing a perfect job at slicing and dicing. You know, you haven't seen, you know, too many, you know, like door slams, bumpers getting turned. And as I say that, we're getting a little wild back there with Chapman.
Yeah, you saw obviously Ryan Chapman avoid the chaos that was up top. Brody Hanna almost slid right up into the 9 machine, and the 9 made contact with this, or the 60 rather made contact with the 9. That's Mullins into the bumper of Johnson, who's been up at the front all night long, was on the front row, I believe it was, with Mr. Ryan Chapman. And Ryan's done a really good job here in this top 5 machine. He's one of those drivers who sprinkles in some wins in the season throughout. He does good on the mile and a half, likes these super speedways, but towards the end of these races, we've seen time and time again where he puts himself in a great position like we did last season, and something always happens to him. So we're going to have to see how this race wounds up for him in the end. Again, anything can happen at these super speedways. This top 5, Charles, this might not even be the top 5 coming to the white flag. That's the great thing you got to understand about super speedways.
Yeah, you know, super speedways, you never know what you're going to get in the end of it. Is a good battle. Richie Coy doing a fantastic job hanging on to the lead right now, but like you said, it's like a hungry pack of piranhas right now, and he's the little guppy in this fish tank. There he goes. McKinney was that guppy for a minute, and you got Hanna, Solari, Chapman, Meglin, Johnson, Grossi, who we haven't talked about. Wayne Grossi in that 7. All of these guys are a hungry pack of wolves trying to get to the front. I don't know if I'd want to be at the front right now. I might want to be there at the end, but you're almost a sitting duck up front right now.
Yeah, and you remember Wayne Grossi was one of those drivers in Monday's FTSR Mach 1 Performance Cup for the Daytona 250. Was really, really strong late in the going. Unfortunately, things did not end the way they wanted to for him. But you see him coming off turn number 2. He's sitting there 5th in the bottom line in those Shell Pennzoil collars as always in that number 7 Chevy Silverado, entering turns 3 and 4 this time. Seeing some guys starting to get a little wide. Jamie Mullins thinking about putting it 3 wide. He will. He's going to try. Now backs out of it. Tried to put it 3 wide with Marshall Johnson on the top. There's Lewis Meglin in the 43. He'll work down to the bottom. Back to turn 1. 4th in line on the bottom. And the Martin Sports yellow and blue colored with the black paint. Exiting turn number 2, but still Richie Coy leading this brigade at the front of the field with his teammate on the back bumper. And Charles, we've seen a couple times where this 11 machine of Tony Solari has been able to push that 28 nearly clear of this number 19 machine. If he were to do that again, and the 28 just so happened to be clear for a split second, do you think we see Cody McKinney jump down to the bottom with him probably knowing how dominant it's been all night long down there?
Yeah, I think he would jump down there for that reason as one of them. You know, that bottom's been a little bit more dominant. 2, you know, you have 2 teammates you mentioned. You've got Coy and Hanna working down on the bottom side. So if you get a chance to get in front of them, you know, I definitely think I would take that opportunity. Because they're going to push each other. So if you can get in front of those 2 that are going to work together, you're kind of setting yourself up in a good spot. And also, on a side note, you know, what was it, 2 minutes ago we were talking about we were coming up just about to 30 to go. Now we're coming up on just about 20 to go.
Coming to 20 to go here in just a handful of laps. Richie Coy still leading, like we've mentioned, for a majority here these last few laps. And it's just really been about, you just can't pass right now. It's so hard to get past this bottom lane. You see them nearly going 3 wide for a moment. Jamie Mullins thinking about going 3 wide again, went to the bottom into the middle, now back to the top behind Johnson, entering 1 this time. He's got help from the number 1 of Nick Goebel back behind him as they exit turn number 2. Guys are just playing the patient game right now, all while trying to be aggressive, trying to make it back to that white flag here, approaching 20 laps to go.
Yeah, and that is the ultimate goal. Once the white flag waves, all bets are off. It is a drag race, knockdown shootout to the end. So that's where they want to get to. We'll see. Again, they're really being racy, but not overly aggressive racy, if that even makes sense. You know, they're not going out there and just beating everybody's doors off. They're showing respect. and a lot of poise out there. If I, if that again, if it makes sense, they're just doing a good job.
Saw the one of Nick Goebel jump down to the bottom, exiting turn number 2 down the back straightaway. Got in front of, I believe that is J.P. Burns or Justin Diltz in the 91 or 99 machine there. And that is J.P. Burns on the bottom that he was able to cut right down in front of. That makes that inside line even stronger now. Makes the outside lane more at a deficit. You see this 28 machine up at the front of this field, though, still side by side with the number 23 machine, almost to Ryan Chapman. You see them go 3 wide again here through the tri-oval. Mullins trying to go through the middle and shuffle Marshall Johnson out of the way, and they're going to do just that possibly. Here comes the 2 of Durango trying to figure out who he wants to go with, and what a pass by James Mullins to go from the top to the middle, back to the top, clear himself on the 9, and you can see the 9 shoves him all the way to turn number 3. This has been an absolutely outstanding comeback for the number 60 machine. Even if it's not a win, a top 3 would be very impressive considering how hard it is to pass here at Atlanta.
You have other sports that have, move of the game or play of the game, whatever. That very well could go down as the, move of the race if he ends up getting a podium or winning this race. But a huge comeback, and that was a very gutsy move, a very good move. You put it 3 wide, and you basically say, I'm coming through, beep, beep, and he did it. And then he just made the 9 basically, he made he made the decision for the 9. Hey, I got to back off and let you in. And he did that, and he took the spot, and he may do it again here in a second.
Yeah, and I think he probably did that because you saw the number 9 machine of Marshall Johnson last time around. He was really high up off turn number 4, like you saw, and in fact, he's going all the way to the wall this time by almost. You see right behind him, that's Nick Goebel. He's been able to jump back up to the top side. James Mullins still trying to figure out what lane he wants to go through. Thought about going to the middle once again, I believe. Decided to stay up top. Oh, and entering turn number 1 that time by big shove from the 11 of Solari to the bumper of McKinney. Nearly sent them sideways for just a slight moment. But back down the backstretch, entering turn number 3, coming to 15 laps to go. Brody Hanna almost ducks out of line, still staying loyal to his Fury Motorsports teammate of Richie Coy, exiting turn number 4 this time by 15 laps to go. Put 3 full hands with your fingers out up in the air, folks. 15 laps to go here from Hotlanta as Richie Coy still leads this field back to 1.
Yeah, just very few laps to go, and we were joking about it. Richie Coy having to message himself and mail himself a 4-pack. It's becoming more and more of a reality and not just a little bit of a joke we were doing. But it would go to second, I do believe, which would be Hannah. So he'd be sending it to a teammate. But I am not counting out Chapman. I really think Chapman's got a shot here. Cody McKinney is still trying everything he can. And obviously Mullins not done in this fight. That dog's got a lot of fight left in him. Trying to do everything he can just to get to, at least third so he can try to make a pass for the lead.
Yeah, and Richie Coy is one of these drivers, obviously. We've seen him time and time again. We talked about it on Monday. He was involved in, I believe, 1 or definitely 2 wrecks for sure. Super Speedways, he doesn't mind them, I don't believe, but, he's always had kind of this bug, this monkey on his back, rather. Every time he comes to a super speedway, he'll run well or he'll run middle of the pack. Something always happens to him. It's nothing of his doing. That could possibly happen here. Don't count your chickens just yet, but if I had to definitely pick a winner right now, I really like this number 19 machine. We see 1 lap truck up and into the wall right there in front of the field. Not too sure who that is, but they get out of the way for the rest of this field. But Charles, if I had to pick a winner right now, I really like the way Richie Coy has set himself up on the bottom.
Kind of fading just a little bit, and that is not good if you're anyone on that outside lane. And we'll see. I'm trying to see. Yeah, the 60 unfortunately had a good run coming, but he's now falling back to 8th place. So again, he tried the outside, it didn't work. So what in the world are you going to do if the inside is that dominant right now? And the outside's just not working.
Yeah, definitely not working for sure. And in fact, it has cleared the top 3 trucks, almost 4 for a minute. 1 lap ago with Lewis Meglin there in the 43. You see Ryan Chapman at the bottom side. Oh, whoa, 1 truck sideways out of line. Wayne Grossi able to save it though, but he's sliding up, nearly makes contact with the left rear of Mullins into turn number 2. And in fact, that enables Mullins to be able to jump down to the bottom. Down the top really has no help until you get back to the 9 machine of Marshall Johnson, but still Mullins trying to decide which lane he wants to go, and Alan Duranko up into the wall coming off turn number 4. That'll shuffle him to the back. 1 car sliding, slamming the wall. That's the 29. Tommy Schaefer involved in that one. I believe he collects another truck right there, possibly Alan Duranko, and it was Alan Duranko, the one who started that mess going into turn number 3, up and into the wall. Tommy Schaefer minding his own business and unfortunately gets collected in this one. You see the 2 just rides the wall here, Charles, and then he's going to come down here and hook this 29 and does.
And just right into the thing. The hood comes off, and what a lick to the inside wall. And by the way, 9 laps to go. Look at 8.
8 laps to go now, and this is the thing. You got what you got. But here's the thing, Charles. These guys have 1 more set of tires in the pits. Do they come down and pit? Because we have seen how much grip has mattered tonight here in Atlanta. As they're about to catch the iRacing pace car, do you pit? Do you not? This is going to be the question we're all wondering right here. If you're a driver in the back, do you want that track position knowing it's so valuable? If you're Richie Coy, do you want that maximized grip here for the end of this race? We're about to find out.
I say if you're 6th place or back, you pit. If not, you're going to fake, and whether you saw the fake. And that'd be about where we saw, about 6th place back. Came on back.
Yeah, James Mullins in the pits, J.P. Burns, Michael Blackner, James Torrey. Not many drivers electing to come to pit road, so that very well could probably be the end of their race. They're going to be very strong on tires, but with the way the passing has been tonight here, it is going to be very, very tough to make up this ground here, and what's probably going to be, Charles, probably, 4 laps to go? Because you think about it, we're still having the pace car lights on. They catch up to the field this time. There's going to be 6 to go. They're going to remain with 5 or 4, depending on how this field racks up and gets back up to the field here.
Yeah, and this is really a strategy call. Because on one hand, I don't know if I would have pitted because, we haven't seen a lot of cautions, and we only are going to have a handful of laps to go. On the other hand, if we do see 3 cautions, we have 3 attempts at a green-white checkered, maybe then those tires could come into play. I don't know if they really would, just because, you're going to go maybe a lap or 2 caution, lap or 2. You're not really going to get any real wear on those tires. So, I don't know. I think it could be a good call, but I don't know if we have enough laps to make it, a good enough call to come in.
We're going to see this time by if we do, in fact, get that 1 to go signal. Obviously, only 4 drivers came to pit road again. That was James Mullins, Michael Blackner, J.P. Burns, and James Torrey. And they sacrificed their positions to get Ford Fresh Goodyear Eagles. And let's see this time by. Pace car lights are going to go out. They are out. We are at 1 lap to go until green. And Charles, it's going to be 5 laps to go when these guys take the green flag. Pick your poison. You said Ryan Chapman. You counted him. You believe in him. I believe in him too. I think he's got a really good shot here, but I just still really like this number 19 of Richie Coy. I think he's got the dominant lane. He's going to have the track. Ryan Chapman in row 2 alongside Cody McKinney. He's been the one pretty much dominating the outside lane all night long. And row number 3, Lewis Meglin, still in this. Top 5 run for him. Starting inside, I believe the top 10 are just shy of it. They'll restart there in 5th. And then obviously you have Fury Motorsports driver Tony Solari right there on the outside. In row number 3, pace car is about to come down. You go back to the top 10. You have Wayne Grossi, Marshall Johnson, Nick Goebel, and Joey McKinney still up there. Top 10 run for the driver of the 18 machine. But just like that, pace car is in. 5 laps to go. Pull your belts tight. 5 more times around the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Green flag is back out. Ryan Chapman gives one good push to the 19 as Cody McKinney tried to think about going to the outside for just a moment. They stack up, entering turns 1 and 2, and Brody Hanna goes to the race lead coming off turn 2 possibly.
I don't think you could have got those trucks any tighter together. They were literally bumper to bumper, probably hooked with chains on that restart, and that's going to tighten up.
Oh, yellow, big crash. Crash going into turn number 3, couple of drivers involved, and oh no, it's James Mullins in the 60 trying to utilize those 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. I can only imagine him trying to probably go 3 wide, collect Sherwood Williford. You see him right there on the bottom. Here's the replay. We're going to take a look at it here. Charles entering turn number 3. I can only imagine what goes on with this number 60. Whoa, that was kind of odd.
Yeah,
just comes right up.
Yeah, and I was going to say maybe the tires just, coming in, getting the tires wasn't the call, but, yeah, he actually went up a little bit, so not sure what happened there. Maybe just didn't know, thought he was more clear than he was, and tags another truck, and around he go, and that should, if I stand correct, yeah, that'll send us into overtime number 1.
And it will indeed send us into overtime number 1. They're going to take the 1 to go signal here with 2 laps to go. Restart. So let's take a look real quick at the Hunt the Front TV race analysis. Remember, 100% fuel load like we've talked about. Those 4 tire sets, only 1 remain for some of these drivers down here in the pits if necessary, if they do want to come down. But I can only imagine if they want to stay out for that track position. We just saw James Mullins bit him in the butt. No fast repairs. You got what you got. 130-lap race. We're coming down to the last few laps. We're going to go into overtime, and that being the green-white checkered attempts 3 if need be. We're about to use number 1 of 3. And Charles, do you think we're going to have to use all 3? Because we're already about to use 1 right now.
I have faith in these guys. They've always been clean, and I think we're going to, that's what I did. I don't think we're going to use any of the other 2. I think we're going to go and we're going to finish this thing out under green.
Yeah, we're about to find out right here. You see them wrap it around 3 and 4 under caution. It's still Richie Coy leading right now. You see Brody Hanna 2nd, Ryan Chapman 3rd, Cody McKinney 4th, Lewis Meglin 5th, Tony Solari there in 6th. So pretty much the exact same way they lined up for the restart there with 5 to go. It's going to be the same way when they come back around here for the first attempt at overtime. For green-white checkered. All you old-timers out there. And, it's pretty much been the Richie Coy show since the halfway point here. Charles, you saw Brody Hanna pick up stage 2. Cody McKinney, I believe, was the one who picked up stage number 1. It's going to get interesting right here. And you got 2 teammates. That's the thing here is the pace car lights have gone out. 1 to go signal now for the first attempt at a green-white checkered. Your 2 teammates. We just saw how aggressive they would be with the pushes between Ryan Chapman and Cody McKinney. The 2 Toyotas pushing the 2 Fords. If your 2 teammates, man, you're going to have to beat the crap out of each other if you want to come and win this race right here.
Yeah, you definitely are. And, you've got a whole bunch of people behind you that want this win. So the fact you do have a teammate does help. But it also hurts you because these guys, they may not be officially teammates, but they may work together to try to get by you. So you have got to be watching every inch around your car as best you can, for any passes, anybody trying to come down and cut your nose off to make the pass, because desperate times call for desperate measures. And, we're coming up to 2 to go when we take the green, and I would pretty much consider that a desperate time if you want to win.
Richie Coy and Brody Hanna going to lead him down in the front row again, alongside with Ryan Chapman and Cody McKinney. Row number 2. Row 3 goes to Lewis Meglin, Tony Solari. Row 4, Rossi, Johnson. 5, Goebel, McKinney. Joey McKinney, that is. Same lineup we had at the previous restart. Same lineup it's going to be for what could very well be the last. This time by Geico Restart Zone. FTSR overtime. Green-white checkered. We're back underway. 2 laps to go from Atlanta. Ryan Chapman, great restart for him and Richie Coy. They get back to the throttle quicker than Brody Hanna and the 28 machine of Cody McKinney this time by. Back out of turn number 2. What will the 19 do, Charles? He's clear of both packs. What will he do? Will he jump up top? Will he stay to the bottom?
Yeah, that is a good question, because on one hand, you want to get up there and work with your teammate. On the other hand, you know, if you get up there, it may push you even and your teammate further back. So, you know, I think as we're coming to take the one to go, right there, white flag is out. I think it's all bets are off.
White flag is out. Cody McKinney trying to look for a way around Brody Hanna. Not enough. He tucks back in line. Big crash in the back. Major crash. About 10 trucks rather, remain back down the back straightaway. Half a lap to go. Richie Coy versus his buddy and teammate, the 23 of Brody Hanna. This time, exiting turn number 4. It's going to be one of those fantastic Atlanta finishes coming to line. Ryan Chapman shoves the 19 to the line. Richie Coy, maybe Brody Hanna. It's
I
too
think Hanna got him.
Brody Hanna gets the nod right there at the line. We're going to have to take a look at the replay, and the 28 nails the 23 into the wall after the checkered flag. Let's take a look at this, and I am out of breath and have a terrible headache. Going to have to take some medicine for that one, definitely. Let's take a look at the line, and Charles, maybe we can slow it up when they get to the line. Look at this. The 19 comes down. And I don't know if Brody Hanna right there was just trying to arc it better than the 19, but he made contact. Let's take a look at it maybe a couple more times here, possibly slow it down. You see him, this is coming off turn number 2 here on the white flag. Major crash happening in the back. Richie Coy getting a great push from Ryan Chapman. I would definitely buy Ryan Chapman a celebratory, hey, thanks for pushing me, victory fuel pack. And here it is, coming along. The 19, just kind of go lower, and then right there, it's that last little bobble at the line. Let's see if we could freeze it real quick, Charles. If we could freeze the finish there by chance with the 19 and the 23, right when they get to the line here. It's just so close to call. We have had finishes where the sim race has, the timing and scoring has messed up before. It is so close here at the line. Let's freeze it right when they get to this line here. Now we're going to try to bring it back, possibly. The 23, though, looks obviously clearly ahead here. It's just
we'll try that again.
Yeah, we're going to try it. We're going to try it one more time. So, again, there's the wreck. You see James Torrey get involved, many others. That might be one of the closest finishes I have ever called in my broadcasting career here on iRacing. And that was really close. I for sure thought Richie Coy was going to have it coming off turn number 4, but you see the 23. He just gets that last push from the 28, and I think the 28 hooks him.
Yeah, he barely got him.
Line. Yeah, he barely gets him right here at the line. You just see it right there. And it looks like Brody Hanna going to go to victory lane here. Last year's Atlanta winner, getting the push from Brian Bliss down to pit road to come to the victory fuel victory lane. Probably stop in his box real quick, maybe grab a snack or two, grab a beer. We'll see what he does here. But Brody Hanna, your race winner tonight at Atlanta in thrilling fashion by 4 1/1000ths of a second over his teammate when we thought Richie Coy was going to be the one. Charles, what a finish. Cody McKinney wounds up P3. Tony Solari there, P4. Great run. Lewis Meglin, P5. Ryan Chapman, P6. Johnson Grassi. Joseph McKinney, P9. Great run for the driver, the number 18 machine. Much needed for him. And then Nick Goebel, Charles, rounds out your top 10.
And it's solid top 10 there, too. 11th through 20th going to be Anthony Cozy. We didn't get to talk to him about him too much, but he had a good run, just kind of fell back. Robert Malikin in there. Sherwood Williford, and I apologize last week. I called him Wilford. I didn't see the I. It is Williford, Ford, so I do apologize there to him. J.P. Burns, T.J. Bartell, James Torrey, Michael Blackner, Justin Diltz, Brian Bliss, and James Mullins. Just didn't have I wanted. He came in, got tires, and then get caught up in a little bit of an incident later on. And not too many more. Alan Duranko, Tommy Schaefer, Tom Price, Bill Hull, and Kobe Mice. Going to round out your field, Jason.
And with that being said, we're going to head over here to the podium in just a minute. We're going to take a quick break before we head to the top 3 podium finishers and then go to Brody Hanna, who's going to be waiting for us in Victory Fuel's Victory Lane here for race number 2 of the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series. We're going to be right back. Quick little break. wrangle up our top 3, give a podium finishes. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to round number 2 of the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series from the Atlanta Motor Speedway, and it was in fact what they call Hot Atlanta tonight here, rounding out in 3rd here on our podium, Cody McKinney. Cody, such a strong truck all night, man. We saw you try to be aggressive late in the run there towards the end, man. Just take us through your night on how tonight in Atlanta went for you.
Same, just trying to stay alive and survive this track. Past couple of races I did official so far this week, I've been taken out, so tonight just wanted to survive and at least try to make it to the end, and whatever plays out at that point happens.
Yeah, and obviously you were really one of the dominators last year in the truck series. Now heading into this year, what differently do you think you want to do as a driver and maybe as a team whole? Do you feel like you can do differently and better compared to 2023, now entering 2024, now that you have 2 races under your belt?
Not load the wrong setup in going into the championship race. That's for sure. But nah, so far definitely the start of this year has been better than the start of last year was. Last year started the year, first 4 races, I don't even think I got 1 finish. So, two P3 finishes start the year is definitely a great start.
Yeah, definitely a great start for sure, man. We'll let you go here and celebrate that 3rd place run with you and your guys, man. Any quick shout outs you want to go before we let you go here tonight?
Everyone at Premier Racing Setups, building, fast truck week in, week out, and give them something to work with. Everyone at FTSR, Brody, Richie, everyone, all the admin team, digital race engineer, sim racing coach, Brian Kendalls, and you guys for broadcasting the show.
There you go, folks. That's Cody McKinney, driver, the number 28 Toyota Tundra, coming home P3. Now we'll step to P2. Richie Coy, man, half a dang foot. That's all there really is to it, and that's probably all she wrote for you here tonight, man. So close.
0.003. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough one to swallow, man. You were really dominant all night long there on the bottom side, and I told Charles during the broadcast, I said, man, I think Richie's got this. He's got the preferred lane. He's got the help on back, man. I mean, what more could you have done?
Wreck the field. I mean, that's, all you could have really done. Nah, it's listen, P2, this is 2 P2s in a row. It's a great way to start the season. Premier Motorsports had rocket ships under us again today. I mean, we were all up front at various times. And it came down to that one caution where Brody and I were side by side, and iRacing gave me the lead, gave Brody second. that put me on the bottom. I mean, it is what it is. We were coming to the line, everybody's pushing, and if I can't win, at least it was one of my Fury teammates. So it's all good, man.
Yeah, and you head to Las Vegas next week, a track that's really had some changes recently from what I've been hearing in the iRacing community. How do you feel like you guys are as a team going to be heading into Vegas next week? Obviously, really great track for a mile and a half. Trucks are really good, produce really good racing there. What is your expectations going into Sin City next week?
We're gonna win. We're gonna win.
There you go.
Nah, it's we always end up going to the track. We do our best to bring the best trucks to the track every single week, and Brody's our mile and a half expert, so I expect him to be very good next week. So yeah, it's business as usual, man. We're getting in a roll here. It's business as usual.
And with that being said, man, we're going to let you go celebrate that nail-biting second-place finish. I know you wanted to be the top one here tonight, man. Going to have to send out some victory fuel to your buddy and teammate Brody Hanna at the end of this one, but any quick shout-outs you want to give before we let you go here?
Well, hopefully Brody gives me his address so I can send it to him. So that's a good start. But thank you as always to Fury Motorsports. Thanks we had a really, again, rocket ship. This is the setup you used last year. So thanks to the teammates, Tony and Michael and Brody. Thanks to Full Throttle Sim Racing. Thanks to LSRTV and you guys doing the broadcast. I watched the Black last week. It was a good broadcast. So I can't wait to see what you guys did with tonight because it is what it is. Thanks to Victory Fuel for coming on board, Martin Sports for staying on board, and thanks for Tony's mom and dad for watching.
There you go, folks. Always got to thank Tony's mom and dad. You'll hear that a lot this season over here on LSR TV. Richie Coy, driver the number 19, finishing second by just 3/1000ths of a second to his teammate Brody Hanna, who we head into victory lane. Presented by Victory Fuel. Use code KOI19. Save 10% off at checkout. But man, you don't got to use that code tonight, Brody. He's sending you some Victory Fuel after this one if you give him your dang address, man. How's it feel to come home an Atlanta winner once again?
Man, what a heck of a finish out there. This race was so, it was nail-biting, nerve-wracking the whole time up front. I do have to say I appreciate the push from Cody there at the end. Worked with Cody all night, with Richie all night. Tony was up there all night working with Ryan. All those guys doing a great job up front, keeping things clean, respectful, easy with the pushes. That's kind of what you want up front for sure. And great night for the team. 1, 2, 4. Tony ended up fourth there, so unfortunately Michael didn't quite have the same luck. But great night for the team. But man, I thought Richie had me there at the line. I saw his front fender. I was like, he's got me. He's beat me to the line, which is fine. I got a little push off the corner there, kind of got us together. But I can't believe I pulled that one off.
Yeah, definitely a crazy one for sure. And that led me to probably, asking you this. With that restart coming out, we saw, and we were all just talking, obviously, in the team chat before the broadcast started. I was talking to you and Richie, and you guys were saying how the bottom was going to be really dominant. And that's why I said, hey, I think Richie's going to have this. And coming to the line to take the green flag, they got a really good start. But then you really got a great push from Cody on back there coming to the white flag. I mean, was there any self-doubt possibly in your mind coming to the restart knowing, oh man, I got to start on this dang outside. I know it hasn't been the best all night possibly.
Well, I said it for the last 2 restarts. I told Richie, I said, this is going to be tough out there. I said, maybe if we can get a run and clear. And I tried the first run. I tried to pull down to see where he was. We just couldn't clear him. And I knew it was going to be tough out there because the bottom was dominant all night. If you could get 2 cars really, or 2 trucks really hooked up down there, it was going to be hard to make anything happen. But I didn't need to clear him to the line. I just needed to have him a front bumper ahead of his, and luckily with that push from Cody was able to make that happen. So I still can't believe .003. That's a crazy finish. I appreciate Richie and Cody and Ryan and all those guys up there racing respectful. Again, that's a big thing. These things can really turn into a madhouse at the end, and we did do a little door banging, beating and banging there coming to the line, but that kind of is what it is, and was able to bring it home. That's amazing.
Yeah, and with that being said, man, that finish was so exciting for us up here in the booth. And with that being said, man, any quick shout outs you want to give here before we let you go to go celebrate with that 4-pack that Richie Coy will be sending to you probably very shortly, I would assume.
Well, I do have to shout out Victory Fuel for being able to do that, and Richie Coy for doing that through Victory Fuel for the winners. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing some of these guys being able to try that product out for sure. Was thinking about getting some myself, but looks like I may not have to actually purchase it, which is surprising. I gotta say thank you to SimRacingPoints.com for sponsoring the truck and sponsoring the series. Brandon Elder, unable to race with us because he's working nights, but sponsoring the series for sure. Gotta thank Mach 1 Performance for sponsoring the Cup Series. Gotta thank you guys, LSRTV, for doing an awesome, amazing job with these broadcasts. I'm blown away with what you guys can do. So I appreciate you guys coming on for sure. And got to thank the teammates and everybody that was working together tonight, and everybody in the league. Honestly, I mean, we do the best of what we can. And this track, I know a lot of the drivers, rightfully so, feel like this is kind of a I don't know how to put it nicely, but it's a tough track to race on. So everybody did the best of what we had tonight, and we'll get away from these super speedways and do some real racing.
There you go. Couldn't agree more. Can't wait to head to Sin City next week. That's Brody Hanna, driver, the number 23 Sim Racing Points Ford F-150 for Fury Motorsports, coming home the winner tonight over his teammate and friend Richie Coy by 3/1000ths of a second. Charles, what a finish. What a race. Probably not what we expected. We expected probably a lot more chaos than I would assume. And we really didn't get that tonight until the very end, kind of. And it was a really exciting race out there tonight.
Yeah, it definitely was an exciting race. You never knew what you were going to get. You thought, maybe you have some cautions, maybe you wouldn't, but they put on a heck of a show, and definitely looking forward to next week.
Definitely looking forward to next week for sure. Again, going to be same time, same place, same great racing here on LSR TV for round number 3 of the FTSR Full Throttle Sim Racing Points Truck Series, going for the Sin City, obviously, in Las Vegas. That's going to conclude our broadcast coverage here tonight. Want to give a quick shout out, obviously, to FTSR for letting us cover their series all season long. Got to thank you, Charles, for being my wingman tonight and producer. Thank Jeff Stabnow, Rocket Racing Media, everybody as always, Victory Fuel, all the sponsors, a part of our broadcast coverage at FTSR. We'll catch you next week, same time, same place, same great racing action from the Las Vegas Motor Speedway for round number 3 of the FTSR Sim Racing Points Truck Series. Have a great rest of your week. Have a good night.